The train whistle wailed like a cry in the wilderness, shattering the autumn air. The wooden platform trembled as the iron beast screeched to a halt. Travelers stepped down, greeted by family, friends, or eager suitors. The station was alive with laughter, embraces, and hurried footsteps across the planks. Yet on the far edge of the platform, a young woman sat alone, clutching a folded letter so tightly it crumpled in her hand. Her name was Clara Whitfield, and she had risked everything to be here. Her heart pounded as she scanned the faces of the waiting men. She had memorized the words of the letter 100 times. "Dear Miss Whitfield, I am in need of a wife to help raise my daughter and manage my farm. I cannot promise riches, but I can promise a home." The words had been simple, but to Clara they had sounded like salvation. She had grown up an orphan, passed from house to house, never truly belonging. When she saw the advertisement for mail-order brides heading west, she thought, perhaps foolishly, that God had finally given her a chance. But as one man after another claimed his bride, Clara's hope withered. No one called her name. No one stepped forward. The station grew emptier. Families left arm in arm, children tugging on skirts, men carrying trunks. Clara's bare feet swung against the cold planks, her patched dress rustling in the wind. The sky burned gold with the setting sun, but inside her it felt like midnight. Had she been forgotten? Or worse, had she been rejected, her letter tossed aside? And then, when silence seemed to crush her, a small voice broke through. "Excuse me, are you my mommy?" Clara's eyes widened. Before her stood a little girl with golden braids and boots too big for her feet. She clutched a ragged teddy bear, its button eyes hanging loose, but her smile was pure light. Clara blinked back tears. "Sweetheart, I'm not sure." The child tilted her head. "Papa said my new mama was coming." "You look like a mama." Behind her, a tall man in a brown coat approached slowly. His face was shadowed beneath the brim of a worn hat, his eyes weary yet watchful. This was Thomas Hale, a widower whose wife had died 2 winters ago, leaving him with his farm and his only daughter, Lily. Thomas's steps were heavy. When his eyes met Clara's, he hesitated as though torn between hope and fear. "I didn't expect you so soon," he muttered. "The letters got crossed. I wasn't sure you'd even come." Clara's heart tightened. "I came," she whispered, though her voice trembled. He nodded, but his face remained unreadable. Lily tugged at his hand. "Papa, can she stay?" "Please, I like her." Friends, before we dive deeper into Clara's journey, I want to invite you to pause just for a moment. If stories of love, hope, and second chances stir something in your heart, then please support our channel Whispers of Kindness, like this video. Share it with someone who might need encouragement, and leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss more stories like this. Now let us return to Clara, whose life was about to change forever. That night, Clara stayed at Thomas's farmhouse. It was plain but sturdy, with timber walls and a chimney that smoked against the autumn sky. Inside, the silence was heavy, broken only by the crackle of the fire. Thomas kept his distance, speaking little. But Lily clung to Clara, sitting beside her at the table, whispering questions. "Do you know how to braid hair? Can you read bedtime stories? Will you stay here forever?" Clara answered softly, her heart aching with every word. She wanted to promise yes. Yes to everything, but she didn't know if she was wanted. Days turned to weeks. Clara remained, but life was far from easy. The challenges they faced. At first, Clara was clumsy on the farm. She burned the stew, spilled the milk, and cut her hands while chopping wood. Thomas frowned often, muttering under his breath. He was polite but distant, his grief for his late wife still wrapped around him like chains. Some nights he sat by the fire staring into the flames, and Clara wondered if he even saw her. The neighbors weren't kind either. At church, whispers followed her. "She's just after a roof over her head." Poor Thomas, still grieving and now saddled with a stranger. "She's too young, too plain, she'll never last a winter." Clara pretended not to hear, but each word cut deep. She lay awake at night, staring at the wooden ceiling, wondering if she should leave. But every time she thought of going, Lily's little voice echoed in her heart, "Don't go, Mommy." One evening, after a long day in the fields, Clara overheard Thomas speaking to a neighbor outside. "I don't know if I can trust her yet," he admitted. "She's kind to Lily, but what if she leaves us too?" The words stung. Clara wanted to cry, but instead she worked harder. She woke before dawn to fetch water, even when frost bit her fingers. She mended clothes, learned to cook hearty meals, and tended the chickens. She read scripture to Lily each night, her voice steady as the child's eyes grew heavy with sleep. And slowly the house began to feel alive again. Turning points. The first turning point came during a storm. A thunderclap split the sky and rain hammered the farmhouse roof. Suddenly, wind ripped through the fields, tearing part of the barn roof away. Thomas ran into the storm to save the animals. Without thinking, Clara followed. Skirts plastered to her legs, hair whipping in the rain. She hauled feed sacks, tied ropes, and worked alongside him until the barn was secured. When they returned, soaked to the bone, Thomas looked at her differently. "You didn't have to do that," he said quietly. Clara met his gaze. "Yes, I did. This is my home too, if you'll let it be." He didn't answer, but something in his eyes softened. The second turning point came when Lily fell ill. Fever racked the child's small body. For 3 nights, Clara never left her side. She bathed Lily's forehead with cool cloths, prayed aloud, and held her close. Thomas, desperate, stood helpless at the door. On the 4th morning, Lily stirred. Her small voice cracked but clear. "I love you, Mommy." Clara broke down in tears, holding her close. And when Thomas saw it, he finally understood. Clara wasn't just helping. She was Lily's mother in every way that mattered. Growth and love. After that, things changed. Thomas began to open his heart, telling Clara stories of his late wife, his struggles with the farm, and his fears of being alone. Clara shared her own story of abandonment, of growing up unwanted. Together, they found common ground in loss and slowly built trust. When neighbors whispered, Thomas defended her. "She's my wife, and she's stronger than most men I know." Seasons passed. Clara planted gardens that bloomed with color. She quilted blankets that warmed the coldest nights. She learned to ride horses, surprising herself with newfound courage. And as the years went by, love, quiet but deep, grew between her and Thomas. One evening, as the sun set over golden fields, Thomas finally spoke the words that had long been building. "You weren't just an answer to an ad, Clara. You were an answer to a prayer I didn't know how to speak." Tears filled Clara's eyes as he took her hands. For the first time, she felt truly chosen. The legacy of love. Years later, the farm thrived, filled with laughter and children. Clara often sat on the porch, rocking in a chair, Lily beside her, now grown into a young woman. She would think back to that lonely platform, the girl who thought no one wanted her, clutching a crumpled letter. She smiled at how wrong she had been. Love had found her, not in the way she expected, but in the whisper of a child's question, "Can you be my mommy?" Closing message. Friends, if Clara's story touched your heart, let it remind you, even in our loneliest hours, when we believe we are unwanted, love may be waiting just around the corner. Sometimes it comes not from where we seek it, but from the smallest voices who see us when no one else does. Before we end, I want to invite you once more. Be part of our family here at Whispers of Kindness. Please like this video, share it with a friend who might need encouragement, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to our channel so more stories of hope, faith, and love can reach you, because these are not just stories from the past. They are whispers meant for us today.